Hey guys, Dib the Awesome here to give you another How to Beat Bo Tai video. This is part 2 on how to beat Bo Tai. Now you're probably asking yourself, Dib, why are you making a part 2 to this How to Beat Bo Tai? I'll tell you why. I got a comment in the last video stating, oh, I know how to beat Bo Tai now with my wallet. And I know exactly why he was saying that. He was saying that because I had like level 9 runes on my monsters, specifically a level 9 strength and life on my plymouth and two level 9s life runes on my goran. Now you don't no, I gotta make this video. No, that's not how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna show you guys that you can do this even if you had level 5 runes, or okay, if you had level 5 runes or lower. So all my monsters essentially have level 5 runes or lower. They don't have any 9 runes. We're going to do this as if you're a common person, and even make it more so, these bow ties are going to be 115. And say you can win this fight even if you have low level runes. Essentially the runes didn't matter. The concept would still be the same. I mean, the concept would still have worked even if I was running level 5 runes on my goran and or plymouth. The concept would still work. So we're going to essentially use the same thing, except this time we're using Bubble Gump in substitute for Goran, and we're using Invarv in substitute for Plymouth. Now he's not. Now the role's like a tad bit different. Warden's going to be more so the supporting in the situation, making sure people don't die, and the Trilops is going to be the one dealing the damage at the end of the day. Now keep in mind, look at this. I am completely like no level 9s, no level 9 runes, none at all. Completely, as far as I'm concerned, you can get these runes naturally as a free to play player. The levels, so this is gonna work, and it's gonna be a-okay. Bow tie doesn't necessarily do a whole lot of damage, so we're gonna be completely fine. The concept is still the same. You don't need to pay to win with this team. Now you can use pretty essentially any team in terms of beating Bow Tai. I even said, what team did you guys use to beat Bow Tai after I was done with the video, I was done with the, the example and all that jazz. You can essentially, I'm not saying this is the all determined, this is the only team you can beat with this team of Bow Tais. You can essentially use like a variety. You don't be creative with the fight. Some guy even won with a DOT team, which I said was kind of pointless to do. But hey, he figured out a way to do it. He used Lernian, he used Thedes, and I think I forgot the last monster he used, but he was still able to DOT him, which is, that's a creative way to do it. Keeping him from using his move essentially with that stamina drain. So this is just a way to beat him, and yeah, I'm going to do this just for the sake of credibility, just the sake of proving that this team works without having necessarily a pay-to-win thought at the end of the video. So this team will work. First up, we're going to just straight up reduce the damage they actually do, and essentially their life cap. We're going to just do that right away. We didn't really do that the last time in the video, but I'm just going to do it so they just don't do too much. And they already don't do any damage to begin with. All they really do is give immunities and all that. That's the main point of Bow Tai, is to be able to give life regen and healing and all that jazz. So we're not going to necessarily win them. We're not going to necessarily kill them straight up the bat. And the nice thing is with Bubble Gump here, with Trilops here, essentially he can give shields to everybody. So he's got more diverse shield, weaker, more area shields than Goran did. But Goran had a really strong single target shield. And now we're going to start stacking our buffs. And at the same time when we're doing that, we're going to do AoE life regen and stamina regen. So this is actually a tad bit better than Plymouth thing, because it's also giving me back stamina, which I was kind of low when I was using Totem. I'd run out of stamina at some point with Totem, so I'd have to recharge. With this, I don't think I necessarily need to recharge for a while. As you can see, they can't really do all that much to my team. All they're really doing is healing. Keep in mind in that. We're going to use the single target stun on the whatchamacallit just to keep them from just moving, and so we can just save more time that way. As we're just using it more, we're using that stun there for just more so a time saving than we are with worrying if he's going to move again. Just gonna charge with Invarve. We don't really need to do anything. When we get a chance to do the debuff again, we're gonna do it with Toad. We're gonna keep applying that debuff. Essentially, it's gonna lower their life too, so the fight's gonna be easier to do, or like even more so easier to do. They'll have less base life to work with, and they can't remove the debuff too. So I think we're still fine. You're gonna do AoE pack mentality. They also do when they have the totem debuff on too. They don't do any. They do even less damage because now they're like, especially this boss monster here has less attack than is about the same as an epic monster. His attack isn't naturally high, and these guys are all 115. Keep in mind, all these monsters are 115. Keep that in mind. Essentially, I don't think the stats are all too different. You're probably wondering why this guy's attack is so high. Again, Totem is able to increase the power of monsters indefinitely. So that's all these little power buffs right here are increasing the damage he does. It's like Totem is pretty much a rune maker for your team. You can pretty much give level 5 strength runes to anybody indefinitely. And it lasts for like 6 or 7 turns. That's how long the buffs last. It's not too much of a problem at some point they go away, after 7 or 6 turns, because the game essentially, you can keep applying them is my point. Even at some point, even if like one goes, there's going to be like 2 others that restock at some point, because the turn system and all that jazz. I'm gonna use Discouragement here. So they're not doing all too much damage. Now you could say a totem is 105. I'm gonna say that really doesn't matter. You can get away with this even if it was 100. It's only a 5-level difference. It's not too much of a difference. You could get away with this team if it was 100 with the same rune build. See, look at that. We almost do about half their damage half of their life at this point. We're just going to keep on waiting. Yep, see, they're also gonna... This is kind of why you don't want to do a DOT fight unless you can clean up the fight quickly and they don't get their ultimate, because what the ultimate does, it removes all negative effects and it heals them fully. I'm gonna say Totem is a really huge counter to this guy, just straight up the bat, because one, you can't remove his debuff. See, it's still on there. His debuffs are still on there. His reduces the power's life, stamina, and damage. That is still on there for another... Well, one of them's up for 4 turns, and another one is up for another turn. And we're gonna get our thing again in the next 2 turns. I'm gonna focus. I don't have my ultimate, but I'm gonna focus just applying the damage buff. I don't think there's much point in it, like in terms of using it in this situation. There's not much point. Just keep on stacking the damage buff. They can't necessarily. There's no point in it's just no point in using it. Just keep stacking the damage. You want this fight to be done as soon, well, not as soon as possible, but you don't, if you could, obviously you have other stuff to do today. You don't necessarily need to wait 3 century. I mean, like, you don't need to use speed boost is what I'm saying. You just need to keep on applying the damage buff. The more damage buffs you have on your monster, the quicker the game goes. Or like not in terms of quicker, but like you can start one-hitting things, or one-shotting things. Yeah, so that's one down. No, am I saying this is the fastest way to deal with them? No, there are other ways to deal with them. I think this is I'm gonna say this is a really easy way to deal with them because you don't necessarily need to deal with his immunities to, yeah, he can give immunities to everything in the game. He's literally built for that. As of the moment, he's built to give immunity to every single debuff in the game. He can also remove negative effects too. That's another thing too. Uh, there are a few things he can't stop. I think one thing he can't stop is stop time, unless obviously, since if he's not the one that's being stopped timed, uh, and he can remove that negative effect with his the a move that removes negative effects for the whole ally team. But he doesn't give him. I don't think he gives immunity to that. I don't think he has an immunity thing for that. He can stop advanced techniques too, like mega stun, advanced stuns, advanced possessions. He can stop that. Uh, we're gonna use this. And we're gonna kill the mini guy here. There we go. Now it's just the boss, and that's not gonna be difficult at all. All my other stuff was on cooldown, so I really didn't have a move to use there. I'm gonna use the Cursed Idol because it's the only thing I can do at the moment. I have a chance to move again. Or just not. The order didn't change at all. I have to regen. Or just, not regen, I have to recharge. It's gonna keep increasing the power of Trilops. As far as I'm concerned, this game is done at this point. Just missed a tad bit on damage there. Ah, I did do the healing move too. Alrighty, Mahu Mojo again. Oh man, I must be running. I wonder if the whatchamacallits are breaking down. Like the Buffy buffs. I'm gonna do Cursed Idol. We're gonna keep increasing our speed. This is kind of why you want to one-shot him, so he doesn't heal everything. Encouragement. Another way to beat this man right here is to use whatchamacallit. To use I was gonna say remove positive effects. Yeah, that's one way of handling the situation too. You can bring Glitch to the fight. I think he can control the situation pretty well. Plus he has self-heal too, so he wouldn't necessarily tip over on you unless he's really, really brittle. Just gonna keep on focusing on getting that stack up. I'm gonna use the ultimate right here. And there we go. And that is how you beat them without level 9 runes or having really, really high level and all that jazz. I didn't even have high level for that last fight, or like the first time I did it, they were both level 100. Well, actually, Plymouth was under 5, Totem was under 5, Goran was 100, but nonetheless, I was still able to do it with level 100. Well, Totem was 105, but that really doesn't matter. Essentially, that really doesn't matter because he doesn't do any damage. All he's there to do is buff. If anything, it just affects how much life he has. And even at that point, though, I wasn't losing any life either because I had shields up and everything and life regen. So Totem wasn't dying at all. And I only had like a level 5 and a level 5 strength and life rune on Trilops. So that's even cool. That's even more thing. I didn't have another strength rune or any other rune. I was using 2 runes on the attacker, the damage dealer, and I had 2 level 3 speed runes and a level 5 rune on my Invarf. So that's how you beat him pretty much if you know free to play and all that jazz. But at least that's one example. There are a bunch of examples. Mine is not the absolute only way to do it. There are a bunch of ways to do them. Ask your friends what they did to beat Bo Tai. There's a lot of ways to do it. The totem method is really easy to do. Just keep totem alive and keep applying the damage buff, and at some point you just win. You do so much damage they can't handle it anymore, and you can reduce their base life too if that's a problem for you. You can use Timira and Totem at the same time. You can use Totem. I mean, not. Yeah, you can use the skill reset for Timira, so you can use Totem's debuff again, and you can keep doing that. I don't think that runs on a cooldown, and at some point they just have very little life, and probably the thing you brought to use life regen can just tip them over at some point because they've lost so much base life. Yeah, that's pretty much everything you need to know about this dungeon. I hope this video helped you in terms of figuring out how to beat Bo Tai. The credibility is now valid. The credibility is now valid because I did beat him without any high level runes or anything like that. No pay runes or anything like that. And that's not no pay to win method in terms of having all glorious high level rune stats. Totally did it with like level 5 and lower runes. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hope you guys enjoyed this boss fight. I would say this is the first step for more enjoyable dungeon fights, especially spotlight dungeons, and all that jazz. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. I'm Dib the Awesome. See you guys later. Yeah, see you guys later.